Hello. I'm in such a better mood this time around for the second video of the evening. Again, thank you for allowing me to vent in the last one. That was the sole purpose of it. I just wanted an outlet to vent and be able to breathe and get out of the very foul mood that I was in. And I'm very happy that I have this outlet to do that, because otherwise it was going to be a pretty difficult evening trying to relax, trying to get out of the foul mood and not turn to food as a coping mechanism. So this video's purpose is different. I actually just wanted to share a few things that I have been meaning to journal about for a while now. For those of you who know, I had ended in November, at the beginning of mid-November, I finished my first leg of this journey. Originally, when I started this series of videos, it was because I had embarked on a 17-week journey to wellness. And the goal was to lose 1 to 2 pounds during those 17 weeks. So for a minimum of 17 pounds and a maximum goal of 34 pounds released. Spoiler alert, if you didn't watch the first season, you just might as well continue with this one. I ended up losing 11.5 pounds, a little short of the 17-pound minimum, but I'm just very, very happy that I at least did that, 11.5, because it's 11.5 more than I would have lost had I not embarked on the journey at all. I learned a lot of things that first time around. It's one thing to be able to talk to clients and provide the support, the education, the framework, the logistics, the resources, the environment in which they're able to thrive and assess and do everything. And it's quite another thing to be the client and to be the person going through the experience. And I'm glad that I'm getting to do this. Perhaps that's the reason why I was supposed to do it. In fact, I think it is the reason why. I'm very happy that I'm able to go through it myself so that I'm able to evaluate, assess, and really get a sense of what it feels like to be on the receiving end. It's a little bit tricky because I'm doing it for myself as opposed to having another coach, but it was important for me to trust the process, to trust the wellness palettes plan, to trust my ability to be kind to myself, to go through the process. I always say that I feel that transformation is best achieved when it's coming from a place of love, self-love, and when it is done with kindness instead of criticism and you know, the harshness that so easily comes when we are unhappy with where we are. So those first 17 weeks, as I mentioned, I did not reach the 17-pound goal, you know, that I was aiming for at a minimum. And I was able to see what my challenges were and what my strengths were. And I'm able to see what kind of things that I needed to adjust. So here we are, second leg. I am now doing shorter goals because at this point I'm just continuing the journey. I'm not starting from scratch. So the first goal, as I mentioned in my not last video, but the one before that, when I was giving a report, an assessment, I said that by my birthday, which is right around the corner, January 10th, I want to have lost 2 pounds per week. I was pushing now. Rather than saying 1 to 2 pounds, I want to kind of aim for the 2 pounds. And that was point number 1. It is important for me to aim high with my personality. If I say 1 to 2 pounds, chances are I'm going to be okay with the 1 pound. And I know it's okay. But for me, I want to aim for the 2 so that if I miss, I at least have the 1. Okay, so that was point number 1 that I found out about myself. And talking about finding out about yourself, that's another thing that I found that was very, very important with this journey. As equally important as having the information about nutrition, about exercise, about what works and what doesn't, as equally important and perhaps even more important, I needed to know myself. I need to know my strengths, my weaknesses. I need to know what triggers me. I need to know the kind of things that soothe me. I needed to really do a big self-assessment to see what I needed to tweak and what I needed to keep moving forward. The first thing is I don't need to bring anything in this house that's going to be a trigger. At this point of the game, I am not in a position to battle the temptation right there in my refrigerator, right there in my fridge, when I am likely at my most vulnerable times to encounter them face to face on my own with no one to to talk me down from the ladder, right? So it's very important for me to make sure that those things don't even make it to my house. I do not need to buy, I do not need to spend money on things that are detrimental to my health. So that was point number two, really, because point number one is that I needed to know myself. Point number two is that I needed to make sure that I don't even bring those trigger foods to my house, because this way I don't have to talk myself down from wanting them because they're not even in my house. Some people can do well with that. I know myself, and at this point, that's not what it is. I found that when I am tired, when I am irritated, like tonight, it would have been a battle if I'd been able to walk right in my kitchen and find something unhealthy to do. So I'm glad that that wasn't an option tonight, and that I was actually able to instead pray, instead meditate, instead ask God to help me, give me the strength to just find something healthy to do and just move forward through the mood, accept that I was feeling irritated, accept that I was feeling anxious, do the self-talk, do the pep talks to myself, and be able to really come out on the other side a lot more happy and feeling a lot more victorious about having been able to not only change my mood, but having been able to do it in a healthy way, which is what I'm hoping will happen more and more and more until I have completely overcome the emotional eating pattern. So let me take a look again and see what else I had put. One of the other things that I found is that I need to have an established routine. I need to have structure. It helps me when I get to bed at a decent time. It helps me when I wake up early and I don't have to rush through the days, because that allows me to then take my time to do what needs to be done in terms of preparations for the day. I have my clothes ready for the gym. I have my food ready for my breakfast. I have my food ready for my snacks and my lunch. When I come back home, if I am tired, I found that that's actually the time that I do the most damage, is when I get home in the evening. It's important for me to have some things that are easy and ready to make, that I'm going to be able to just do in a quick time. I'm not cooking for a huge family. It's actually just myself. So it doesn't make any sense for me to have to sit there and cook every single night a full meal. So the concept of cook once, eat twice, and sometimes in my case 3 times makes a lot more sense for me. So even in my purchasing pattern, I need to think about that when I'm at the grocery store, to make sure that the things that I'm grabbing are going to be things that I can cook quickly. With cooking also comes cleaning. So it's important for me to make sure that I discipline myself, that everything is always clean and ready to go when I get home, because if I have to look at the sink and see that there's anything that I have to wash before I can cook after an exhausting day, chances are I'm going to aim for something. I'm going to grab something else that might not necessarily be as healthy, because it's going to bring me to another point. I realized that a lot of times I was describing healthy as not having eaten badly, but sometimes I was not realizing that I was also making an unhealthy choice of not eating at all, or eating too little, or snacking instead of eating. I want to say that again. Unhealthy habits also encompass not eating enough. Snacking is not eating. It is supposed to be a supplement to meals, not a replacement for meals. And I found that I was happy and okay with my day as long as I didn't overeat. But I'm realizing that I caused quite a bit of damage by undereating also, and by snacking instead of eating a proper meal. So that's something else that I noticed that I needed to do. And then the journaling. I think I may have already started talking about it, but for me, I found that being able to get up in the morning, start my day on the right foot by doing my first in 10, which is my first 10 minutes of my morning. I spend, basically connecting with God, doing some devotionals, being able to pray, being able to prepare my mind and my body for the day, being able to do my breathing practices. That helps. It helps quite a bit. What helps seal the whole thing is when I close with intentions for the day. I have a journal that I got from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition when I was taking the course, and it actually is comprised of intentions in the mornings and then reflections at night. And I find that when I take the time to do my intentions in the morning, it actually sets the tone for me throughout the day, because I am then going through my day with a purpose. It's like a purpose-driven day, and action, supported to go through this day and make sure that I'm being true to myself. I'm taking stock of my intentions all throughout, and assessing whether I'm staying true to what I had decided to do in the morning. And then not being too hard on myself when I'm doing the reflections in the evenings. If it turned out to be a day that wasn't quite as healthy as I wanted, there's always the next day. And there are always a gazillion things that I can be grateful for that have gone well. And very seldom do I actually focus when I'm doing my reflections on just what went wrong, because as one of the questions for the reflection is, what could I have done well? Things that have served me and things that didn't necessarily serve me. It's not just focusing on, what did you do wrong? And when I'm not doing the reflections and the intentions, I found that I can be harder on myself and I can be more critical than I need to be. So to recap, I need the structure. I need to make sure that I know myself and my weaknesses, meaning that I know what not to even bring in this house. I need to make sure that I have with me my outlet, what helps me purge, what helps me, get my frame of mind right. And that's my journaling, because it has always been very therapeutic for me. And so starting with the intentions, closing the evenings with the reflections has worked. And I have also gotten back into the habit of carrying with me my journal, so that when I'm not able to do a video, when I'm not able to call a friend, when I'm not able to have a tantrum, I can at least vent, and I can sit down and I can write, even if it's just a couple of lines, to just get my mind right and remember the purpose of this journey, and remember the reason why I want to continue moving forward. So this video has gone quite long. I didn't mean for it to be this long, so I'm going to stop right here. And I want to again say, if you want to hear more like this content, if you want to share this with a friend, please feel free to subscribe. The channel is Kat's Wellness Journey, and that's K, the @S Wellness Journey. You're welcome to share, to subscribe, to like. I welcome your feedbacks to your health and mind, and I hope to see you fairly soon. I want to get back to journaling like this, vlogging like this more regularly, because I find that that too helps me, like it did with my previous video tonight, when I get a chance to vent instead of eating.